everyone, this is Marco and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to quickly talk about this brand new reveal. It is a very special and interesting one. As a lot of you guys might know, Mattel has revealed in their brand new creator edition of the Beyond the Gates episodes, the brand new CARNOTAURUS for their Reimagined line. To be exact, it's the Reimagined Jurassic World Legacy Collection Roaring Real Feel CARNOTAURUS. Well, a bit of a mouthful there. So yes, this is the first release from the Reimagined line. Now what is the Reimagined line? There were some rumors that the Reimagined line was going to be a replacement for the 93 Classic Collection and the Legacy Collection. I remember seeing a job opening at Mattel for the head toy designer or lead toy designer for the Jurassic World products. So I'm guessing a new person is in charge and decided to switch things up a little bit. Now, when that first was announced, we all had a little bit of skepticism going on and we were a little bit worried because that was our first impression, was that they were going to completely replace the Legacy Collection and 93 Collection, which are some fan favorites. With the Legacy Collection, obviously the fan base had the opportunity of getting some movie accurate Jurassic Park figures, complete with sets and vehicle. Just look at those Lost World sets we got, those are awesome. And with the 93 Classic, you'd get some Kenner inspired stuff. So we all had the impression that Jurassic World Reimagined was going to be something along the lines of releasing some things that were already made, but with some differences. So just repainting some existing things, bringing back Owen, of course, and giving him, I don't know, a different colored vest or something like that. And let's be honest, that is something that I can see Mattel totally doing. They love releasing repaints upon repaints upon repaints of old models for a quick buck, so to speak. But the way that they introduced this Reimagined line is a little bit different from what we thought originally. As we can see, there is still the Legacy Collection name, but this figure looks like a Kenner inspired thing. So I'm guessing mainly they got rid of the 93 Classic name because 93 was kind of hindering or limiting the possibilities with what they could release, due to 93 being specifically about 1993 toys, and they're replacing the 93 Classic with the Reimagined line. And it makes sense for it to be called Legacy Collection still, as well as Reimagined, because it is a legacy of the Jurassic franchise anyway, even if it's inspired by the Kenner figures. Also, they tried to release some 2001 Hasbro inspired designs, like with the Dennis Nedry set for the 93 Classic Collection, and that made no sense whatsoever. I can imagine whoever is now in charge of the Jurassic toy line seeing that jumbled mess of a set and thought, oh my goodness, this makes no sense. Right, we need to change some things around. So I'm guessing this Reimagined line is a continuation of the 93 Classic line, but inspired by the whole of the Jurassic toy line, which is very interesting. It's promising, but at the same time, I am very wary of it because we don't want repaints of old models, of old sculpts like the rat tail raptors. If they're gonna do things properly, they should make whole new sculpts. They are the biggest toy company in the world, after all, and they surely must have enough budget to do that. But with today's reveal, it seems like they actually are putting a lot of effort into it. This new figure is something that is actually incredibly special. But I have a feeling they might use this really incredible figures to entice us into the line and then release some really bad repaints in between, and then occasionally releasing some incredible stuff just to pack out the line a bit and make a quick buck. So all of this is to say that it's too early in this line's life to know exactly what they're gonna do. If they maintain this standard with this CARNOTAURUS throughout the whole line, it's gonna be a really incredibly special one, guys. I am hopeful, but I am going to be extremely cautious. That being said, let's have a look at the figure itself and talk about the video that they released. So this time this video was hosted by Neemz. He is the movie poster guy who also runs the page Jurassic Your World. He is an incredibly talented photographer and designer. He's actually designed some packaging in the past for Mattel, as well as some official posters for the movies. And I'm so glad that this time I've actually got a real Jurassic Park fan presenting this episode, just like when they had Ted or the Jurassic Junkie. So Neemz, congrats, and let's have a look at the figure, shall we? So Mattel chose to do a CARNOTAURUS, and why am I not surprised? It seems like someone at Mattel is in love with the CARNOTAURUS. Every time they release one, it's always perfect, and we see the exact same thing with this one. Man, at a first glance, I was shocked. This thing looks beautiful. So it looks like it's the same sculpt as the Hammond collection or the Control and Conquer CARNOTAURUS. Actually, yeah, it seems a little bit closer to that one. At least the same base, and then they just sort of tweaked it a bit, which is absolutely fine because all of the previous CARNOTAURUS sculpts have been incredibly good. But this time they went a step further. They have been applying all of their brand new sculpting philosophy onto this figure. As you can see, the proportions look a lot nicer. The feet are smaller too, which is great. And it's got really, really nice, small, sharp teeth. They definitely changed the head sculpt around, but the most obvious thing is that its horns are completely different. It's got some really nice, long, curved horns that point towards the front of its snout. Unlike the Hammond collection CARNOTAURUS, the arms on this CARNOTAURUS look much better too. They are properly in scale, they look really small, but they look pretty detailed at the same time. But the most important feature of this dinosaur is that it's real feel. So guys, this is actually a rubbery skin dinosaur, just like the 93 classic red Tyrannosaurus Rex, and I'm so incredibly excited about this. This is amazing. We needed more real feel figures. We already had a real feel figure right at the beginning when Mattel got the license, and that was the Mosasaurus. But the way that they made the rubbery skin on that wasn't very good, I don't think. The skin was way too tough, way too hard, and it didn't feel like rubber at all. It felt more like softer plastic. But the way that they've been doing it on the 93 classic Tyrannosaurus Rex, the Red Rex, that is perfect. It feels incredible, and it seems quite resilient too. I've not heard a single person with issues or with the rubber tearing and stuff like that, so that's great. So assuming this new CARNOTAURUS has the same type of rubber as the real feel Red Rex, then we're laughing. It seems to me that the legs are of the harder plastic, and the arms might be a little bit softer plastic, but definitely not the rubber that we see on the body. So still on the sculpting, I think it looks amazing. There is one shot where it's almost from the front view and the head does look a little bit too wide, but honestly, that still looks amazing. Honestly, that's fine. Another thing to consider is that this isn't a movie dinosaur, so they kind of have a little bit of artistic liberties with it. That being said, we can definitely tell that most of the sculpt is based on the movie version, but slightly tweaked with some more exaggerated features like the horns, and not big feet this time. That's how you do it. That is really good. And I must say, I'm sorry to anyone that is nostalgic to the Kenner figures. This looks leaps and bounds superior sculpt-wise to the Kenner one. I know nostalgia is a big, bad, blinding beast at times. Please don't lie to yourselves. This new CARNOTAURUS does not look derpy like the old one. One of the most obvious aspects that pay homage to the original Kenner figure is the paintwork. It is a black CARNOTAURUS with red patterns, just like the Demon CARNOTAURUS that Kenner released. This time though, the patterns are quite different looking. On the Demon CARNOTAURUS, the patterns are a bit more erratic with some like diamond shapes and stuff. I don't know how to describe this, but it looks a bit more like camo patterning. But with this one, it's a bit more stripy, I think. In any case, it is a direct homage to the figure. I can see why it's called Reimagined and not Replica or something like that, because it is inspired by the classic toys, but changed up a little bit. In this case, in my opinion, for the better. Sculpt-wise, it is much better, and it really does fit in with the Jurassic toys of today, I think, but still keeping that nostalgic look. I think this is the best balance. Making a sculpt based on what we see on the film, with some nice realistic looking texture and proportions, but with a couple of tweaks and hints at the old sculpt, like with the horns. That's ideal. And then the paintwork based on the original Kenner stuff. I think this is the best balance. This is how you design a dinosaur toy. Absolutely great stuff by Mattel. I feel like they kind of tried that with the 93 Classic T-Rex. I think this Carnotaurus is superior because of the quality of the sculpt. The 93 Classic Red T-Rex, the sculpt is a bit hit and miss, and I think the Kenner one looks better. It's a bit more accurate texture-wise too. Don't get me wrong, there are some things wrong with Kenner's one. It looks a bit derpy, but overall the proportions are better on that one. And it has some of the iconic T-Rex texture, like on the belly and stuff like that. But if Mattel keeps releasing stuff just the way they designed this Carnotaurus, it's going to be an incredible line. I have a feeling though that this is going to be the pinnacle of Mattel because they always give it their all with Carnotaurus, and I can't see anything surpassing this one, unfortunately. So, still talking about the paintwork, it has painted claws too, and the claws are painted with some off-white or grey, just like the original. That Kenner one had painted hand claws too, but that's because they made incredibly massive fingers on that thing, so I can see why they did that. Mattel didn't paint the claws on their Carnotaurus because the hands are very small. Let's face it, they don't usually paint the claws anyway on the hands. The original Carnotaurus though did have some grey paint on the inside part of the legs, which Mattel's one seems to lack. Another thing I noticed is that I think Mattel should really try and extend the belly color more all the way down the body too, because it just seems to stop at the beginning of the chest, and that's it could look better, it could look nicer with some paint going all the way down. It also had some dino damage happening. This new Mattel one doesn't, but it does have an area for the scan code, and once that's opened, that could kind of be dino damage if you think about it. If you really want, you can go in and remove the scan code and just paint it as if it's flesh. I kind of wish they removed the scan code and just sculpt in some dino damage, but I'm guessing they're just trying to appeal to the younger generation now, which have to have their tablets, don't they? The original Demon Carnotaurus by Kenner came with some capture gear too and restraints. Mattel's one unfortunately does not. Another thing that some people seem to be upset with is that this Carnotaurus does not have any type of jaw articulation. It is very reminiscent of the original Kenner figures because they don't really have any jaw articulation except for maybe some gimmicks here and there. But I can see where people are coming from. It is a bit jarring, especially since Mattel love adding articulation on the jaws. But since this is rubber, if you squeeze the neck, the jaws should open. And somewhat close too if you let it go. In the next part of the video, Neemz goes on and takes some photography and designs a poster for it. And it looks superb. I really like his style. And it looks gorgeous. I'll leave a link in the description so you can go and watch the video. So that's my thoughts about this new Carnotaurus figure. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think. Please let me know what you think. I'm very eager to know everyone's opinion on this. Again, I'd like to say that I'm very excited about this line now that we have some sort of idea of what it's going to be. But I'm very cautious too because I know Mattel and they love releasing half-baked repaints, unfortunately. So I can see that happening. But hey, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.
I would like to give a massive thank you to all of my Patreons. Seriously guys, your support really does mean the world to me, as it helps me do what I love for you. You help me buy materials, and most of all, you give me a helping hand with improving the quality of the content of my videos. Even if it's just a small donation, every little helps.